Welcome to Dark Side of History channel, where the untold stories of the past come to life. So don't forget to subscribe and uncover the mysteries with us.
Hitler-France surrender reaction photo. Photographer Walter Frentz captured Hitler's reaction to news of French surrender on June 17, 1940, documenting Nazi Germany's greatest military victory. This historic photograph showed Hitler at the peak of his power after conquering Germany's traditional enemy in just 6 weeks. The surrender reaction represented the moment when Hitler believed he had achieved his destiny as conqueror of Europe. Hitler Youth War Donation Request. Young boys approached Hitler requesting donations for the war effort in 1939, involving younger generations in Nazi propaganda and military support. These children were taught to see Hitler as a father figure and to sacrifice for the Nazi cause from an early age. The donation request showed how Nazi propaganda deliberately targeted children to create lifelong loyalty to the regime. Wehrmacht flamethrower cigarette light. A German soldier used his combat flamethrower to light a cigarette on the battlefield, showing the practical uses of dangerous weapons. This casual scene demonstrated how soldiers adapted military equipment for everyday needs while fighting in combat zones. The cigarette lighting represented how warfare could make the most dangerous activities seem routine and normal. German Marine Churchill tank trophy. A German soldier posed with a destroyed British Churchill tank and a captured Canadian machete as war trophies in 1942. This victory photo showed how individual soldiers collected souvenirs from defeated enemies to commemorate their battlefield successes. The tank trophy represented the personal satisfaction that soldiers found in defeating superior enemy equipment through skill and determination. German Olympic break propaganda contrast. German soldiers relaxed during the Berlin Summer Olympics in 1936, creating contrast between peaceful sporting events and military propaganda displays. These Olympics were used by Hitler to showcase German superiority and Nazi ideology to the international community. The soldier break captured how the Nazi regime blended sports, propaganda, and military preparation in their quest for power. STG-44 Berlin Capital Defense Battle. 2 German soldiers fought during the April 1945 defense of Berlin using advanced STG-44 assault rifles as their capital city fell. These defenders represented the last remnants of Nazi resistance fighting with the world's first operational assault weapons. The capital defense showed how technological innovation continued even as Germany's strategic situation became completely hopeless. SS North Africa Desert Patrol. An elite SS group faced extreme desert heat during clandestine missions on January 18, 1943, in the North African Campaign. These special forces operated in harsh environmental conditions while conducting secret operations against Allied forces. The Desert Patrol represented how elite units adapted to extreme climates while maintaining their military effectiveness across different theaters. American Marine Hill Peleliu exhaustion. An exhausted Marine cried after the tough battle for Peleliu Airport at Hill 200 in August 1944 during brutal Pacific fighting. This emotional breakdown showed the psychological toll that intense combat took on even the bravest and most experienced soldiers. The Marine exhaustion represented the human cost of island-hopping warfare against fanatical Japanese resistance. Filthy Pathfinder D-Day Elite Troops. The original Filthy 13 U.S. paratroopers became the first Pathfinder elite troops who guided the main invasion force during D-Day operations. These specially trained soldiers parachuted behind enemy lines to mark landing zones and gather intelligence for the massive invasion. The Pathfinder elite represented the courage of specialized troops who undertook the most dangerous missions to ensure overall success. Hector Murdoch, Singapore family return. British soldier Hector Murdoch greeted his wife and son after surviving 3 years in a Japanese prison camp in Singapore. This joyful reunion showed the emotional reward that made survival worthwhile after years of brutal captivity and uncertain fate. The family return represented hope and renewal after the darkest experiences of war and imprisonment. Italian Stalingrad retreat snow dog. A dog sat in the snow with retreating Italian troops visible in the background during the December 1942 Stalingrad withdrawal. This animal companion shared the hardships of military retreat through harsh Russian winter conditions with defeated Axis forces. The retreat dog represented how even animals were caught up in the tragedy and suffering of military defeat. German Tunisia tank destroyer preparation. Marder 3 tank destroyer vehicles were loaded with gasoline drums and prepared for frontline operations in the Tunisian desert campaign. These self-propelled anti-tank guns provided German forces with mobile firepower to counter superior Allied armor in North Africa. The tank destroyer preparation showed how Germany adapted their tactics and equipment to fight effectively despite being outnumbered. Hitler Goebbels winter relief propaganda. Hitler ate a simple bowl of food during a winter relief campaign in Berlin in 1934, demonstrating Nazi propaganda about shared sacrifice. This staged photo opportunity showed Hitler pretending to share the hardships of ordinary Germans during economic difficulties. The propaganda meal represented how Nazi leaders used fake displays of solidarity to maintain popular support during hard times. American Hurtgen Forest machine gun. American troops operated a machine gun from a captured German position during the Battle of Hurtgen Forest in 1944. This brutal forest fighting took place in dense woods where visibility was limited and casualties were extremely heavy on both sides. The forest machine gun represented the deadly nature of combat in terrain that favored defensive operations and concealed movement. Battle of the Bulge, German saboteur death. A German spy wearing an American uniform was tied to an execution post before facing a firing squad during the Battle of the Bulge. This infiltration attempt was part of Hitler's desperate final offensive to split Allied forces and avoid inevitable defeat. The saboteur execution showed how Germany resorted to desperate and illegal tactics during their last major offensive operation. Mercedes-Benz Hitler Portrait Corporate Support. A Munich Mercedes-Benz showroom displayed a large portrait of Hitler in 1935, reflecting the close ties between German companies and Nazi regime. This corporate support helped legitimize Nazi power while businesses benefited from government contracts and political protection from competition. The showroom portrait showed how major businesses openly supported Nazi ideology to maintain their economic advantages and market positions. General Patton's faithful dog, Willie. General Patton's loyal dog Willie lay beside his deceased owner's belongings in December 1945, showing the grief that even animals felt for fallen leaders. This faithful pet had accompanied the famous general throughout his campaigns and mourned his death just like human soldiers did. The dog's grief represented the personal relationships and emotional bonds that war created between soldiers and their animal companions. Astoria, Oregon Coast Defense Position. American soldiers manned an M19119 machine gun in defensive trenches along the Oregon coast in October 1942, protecting against possible Japanese invasion. This coastal defense showed that the threat of enemy attack reached even the American mainland during the early war period. The coast defense represented American determination to protect their homeland from any possible enemy assault or invasion attempt.